Hey kids, welcome to the garage. It's me, Dad, out here, and today I've invited along your gaming uncle, Pancake Detective, to sit down and have a nice chat with everyone. Say hi to the kids.
Hello, how are you all tonight? Or today?
whatever time it is.
Whatever time is in your local area at this moment.
Well, kids, what we're doing today is something a little bit different. Rather than my usual standard review where I have like an entire script laid out that I record and then carefully edit over footage, Pancake Detective and I are going to have kind of like a podcast style chit-chat back and forth because we both just finished playing this game and now we're going to share our thoughts on it and kind of review it, and we're going to try something different and see how it goes. So without further ado, let's sit down and talk about Rage 2, the direct-to-video sequel to Rage 1.
Oh, isn't that accurate? Oh my god.
I have been waiting to say that out loud to you. You have no idea.
A direct-to-video sequel. Oh my god.
I've got a couple of... Hold on. I've got a couple of other ones. So, direct-to-video sequel. Rage 2, everyone's least favorite Michael Bay movie. Rage 2, Too Fast, Too Furiosa.
No.
No,
Rage 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh my god, it's all accurate. It's all accurate. So before we start talking about the game, let's kind of review the history of the game coming into being. So the first Rage came out in 2011, and shortly thereafter there was talk about a sequel, with John Carmack even saying that they were working on plans for a sequel, but at that point in time, in 2013, and this is just before he left the company, he said that they were taking their entire tech crew and moving that over towards the development of what was being called Doom 4 at that point. So then we fast forward a couple of years after hearing that nothing about the game, and Bethesda's Pete Hines mentioned that both Rage and The Evil Within had done well enough to warrant making sequels. And then it was a couple of years later in 2018 where we got the official announcement on the teaser trailer that Avalanche Studios would be co-developing the game with id Software, and then the game released in 2019.
Right.
So that's what gets us here to this point. So you didn't play the first game.
I did not, no. I had a curiosity about it when it first came out on the PlayStation 3, but I never got around to playing it. I decided to go with the arena team shooter Quake. I don't remember the title of it exactly at this moment, but it was the Quake arena shooter.
Quake Live?
Quake Live, yeah. No, not Quake Live. No.
Oh, Team Arena?
No, it was like you played as either the Strogg or the Marines.
Oh, Enemy Territory.
Enemy Territory, yeah. I picked up that instead of Rage.
I completely forgot those came out around the same time.
Well, I don't blame you because Enemy Territory was a completely forgettable game, so...
I never had any interest in Enemy Territory, mostly because it was a primarily online shooter, and at that point I didn't have a good computer, so playing an online shooter, let alone a shooter on my computer, was just kind of out of the question. But then also the aesthetics, it was like, oh, this is like early modern military fighting, the Strogg. It didn't look like it had any of that sci-fi? No.
Sci-fi, yeah.
Sci-fi influence. Superfly.
It's like when you're really cool, but you're in like a futuristic setting, it's sci-fi.
Super Sci-Fly Johnson.
Oh my god, bad motherfucker.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, it was completely forgettable, but yeah, I decided to go with that one instead of Rage, and that was a mistake.
I don't know, man. I'm not fucking... God, Rage.
Although based off of your Rage video, which just released, I honestly didn't miss much from watching that.
Oh, yeah. Like, it was so much... Playing it the second time... I mean, a decade apart, the second time really highlighted all the flaws. Although I do have a fun story when you and me and our other brothers on our old defunct channel, kids, the California Kings, we played Borderlands 2 together.
Yep.
And we got really drunk while playing that, so I kept confusing Sanctuary and Wellspring, like, in my head.
No kidding.
Well, because they had such a similar layout and such a similar vibe, that kind of like western, deserty wasteland feel, that for years, whenever I would try to think about the layout of Sanctuary in Borderlands 2, I kept thinking about Wellspring, and I had to realign my brain and like figure that out. Like, no, oh no, that's not Borderlands. That's Rage.
Whoa.
Yeah, which I think speaks to just how much those two games had thematically in common, or how much Rage kind of cribbed from Borderlands.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Borderlands had kept its original art style?
No.
Like, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the two games apart at that point.
You couldn't tell them apart in that original trailer at all.
Yeah.
All right, so to give the kids some context, the game opens up. You are cast in the role of Walker, who is a ranger, like, in training, not a full-on ranger yet. And as
I'm sorry to interrupt, but he's actually a ranger in training? Because I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't pick up on that at all. Like, that's me guessing. That's pure guesswork.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. Continue.
No, that's fine, because there's so much in this game that I think doesn't make sense, and I think we're going to do a lot of crossing back and forth and being like, wait, is that actually? But anyway, so the player is Walker. You're the Rangers. They are the defenders of the wasteland, and their base comes under attack by the Authority. Everyone we know and love gets slaughtered by the Authority. A bunch of them get kidnapped. Walker climbs into the armor worn by a ranger who just died. So they kind of become a ranger by default in that moment. So then that sets up the entire game, and our story is now we have to go and stop the Authority once and for all, even though they just disappeared for 30 years and now they're back. So now we gotta go. We're tasked with tracking down 3 people, all of whom have a piece of something called Project Dagger, which is what will bring down General Cross and the Authority for good, like a super secret contingency plan. And these 3 pieces were split between 3 people, all of whom are characters that appeared in the first game. So we're given a super cool, like, Batmobile-like car to go travel the wasteland. We're kind of introduced to the nanotrites and some super abilities that we have that the nanotrites let us perform, and we're just kind of basically let out into the wasteland.
Yeah.
Okay, but like, so for you, coming into Rage 2, not having played the first one, so there's this massive opening sequence that just catches you up on the very end of Rage 1 and then throws you into this game with the whole, like, General Cross, the leader of the Authority, talking about how now the time has come to cull all the humans and reshape humanity into their own image, and then suddenly we're just into it. Guns, explosions, sci-fi action, all of that. Like, how jarring was that?
That was super jarring. Like, I really didn't have an inkling of a clue of what was going on at first, because like we already covered, I hadn't played the first Rage game, and so I felt like I was missing something. Like, what's going on? Who are these Authority people? Like, I get, like, they're like the bad people and they want to do things their way and they want the world to go their way, but I had, like, no context behind any of that until discovering that opening sequence where you've got, like, a satellite looking thing coming back down onto Earth. That's actually the end cutscene.
Oh yeah.
For the first Rage game. I had no idea. So, like, everything that happened at the end of Rage, you see at the very beginning of Rage 2, and that gives you, like, you know, an introduction, quote unquote. It was still really jarring because it's just like, you're giving me a lot to work with without a whole lot of context.
And I mean, it's also super jarring from, so I literally just finished playing the first Rage and then steamrolled right into playing Rage 2. So to see the ending cutscene of the first game as the opening cutscene was like, oh, all right, well, we've got some seeds here to lead into it. And then all of a sudden we get to see the Authority. And, like, in the first game, the Authority are these guys who are just these, like, dystopian fascist assholes who all have a lot of really cool technology and run around in suits of armor. And now suddenly they're the Strogg, basically.
Right, yeah.
That that was hugely jarring. I'm like, oh, you are the Strogg now.
Apparently, like, they take, like, giant mutants, and they strap armor and technology on them, and we're good to go, apparently.
Which on one hand was kind of a nice thread that they picked up from the first game, because near the end of the first game, like they'd been kind of alluding to it during your missions with the Resistance, that the Authority had been experimenting with nanotrites controlling mutants in the wasteland. So in that final level that you run through, you're getting attacked by cybernetic mutants that are being controlled by Authority grafted nanotrites. So like that play kind of like was a nice run through, like a through line from the first game to the second game. And it was like an okay thread. I was fine with that, like at first, until I realized that the Authority there's no human beings in the Authority at all anymore.
No. Yeah, there really aren't.
Weird genetic, scientific, experimentated mutants, and then Cross is just this cyber. So, okay, so replay. So, like, I kind of started to replay the game after I beat it. And the thing that I noticed in that opening cutscene when he's delivering his big, like, we are the Authority, and we have been hidden for 30 years, and now we are coming back. It occurred to me that he's just talking to a bunch of drones. He was just talking to a bunch of mutant drones. There was no one in the audience who could like take in any of his words. He was just talking to talk.
He was hearing the sound of his own voice and being like, yes.
And I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, what is the point of this villain? Who, by the way, General Cross was like, I think mentioned. He was mentioned maybe once or twice, but only if you like dug hard enough. He never shows up in the first game.
Which is weird. Like, you'd think that the first game would at least establish a villain. Like, this is the villain. Like, this is the main villain of the series that we want to establish here in the first game, and then build upon that in the second game, which is why I was confused when he first showed up. I was like, oh, who is this guy? And, like, why is he, like, you know, mostly machine? Like, did that happen in the first game? Well, turns out it didn't. Like, nothing happened in the first game with this guy, so it was...
So I'm curious, because you can pick your gender identity. Did you pick male walker or female walker?
I did pick a male walker.
I picked female walker.
Okay.
When I did
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when I did the replay, I picked male walker just so that I could kind of hear it. Oh my god, by comparison, his voice actor is so boring.
Really?
So boring.
Why is that the case among like these sci-fi action games? Like, that's the same thing in Mass Effect, where you have like the Guy Shepherd and the Femme Shepherd.
Yeah. And
Femme Shepherd is way cooler of a character.
Oh yeah, by
than
far.
Dude Shepherd. I don't understand.
That was
like
partly,
same thing with even Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like, Alexios is just this like cut and dry, boring ass sounding guy, and then Cassandra is a really cool sounding lady. Like, why?
I don't know, maybe because like maybe the thought from the developers is that you're going to have a higher percentage of male players who are playing these games. So if you have like a bit of a more dry, boring, milk toasty sort of male character, like you can kind of cast yourself in the power fantasy. Maybe, I don't know.
I guess, I don't know. But like maybe it's like, well, like you said, like the majority of our audience is a dude, so we don't have to like have a really interesting voice actor because 90% of our audience is going to play as the dude, whereas we have to make the lady voice actor work harder for it to make her more interesting.
Or it could be the actress, the actor themselves, like going like, no, I'm gonna put some personality in this. I'm a badass chick in a badass video game as a badass role. Like, I'm gonna bring it.
That could be it too. Yeah, that could absolutely be it as well.
Well, that kind of line of thinking was why I picked Femme Walker, because I was like, you know, almost every FPS I play, I get to be this big badass dude in Space Marine armor, and it's like it's kind of a rarity, at least in a AAA game. A lot of the indie shooters are presenting some great like femme characters, like Viscera Fest, for example, or I keep meaning to tell you about it, but the demo for a game called Supplice also has a femme character. It's really cool.
I played that recently.
Oh, did you? Oh, good. No, that one's really good.
Yeah.
But Sulaco and Beyond Sunset all have femme characters in the first-person role. Or I almost forgot about Ion Fury. That's a big one. So that's cool, but like you don't really see that in like AAA first-person shooters. Not really.
Not really,
so
no.
it's just like, okay, cool. If you're giving me the option, then I'm gonna pick the more interesting character to me. And her dialogue, her voice acting was great. But man, Walker's a boring character, aren't they?
They kind of are. Yes.
The whole, like, I don't know, there's really zero motivation to do anything other than I go avenge people. My aunt died and other people died. I go avenge them now, and then that's it.
Like,
Not that
you're an
the first
Avenger,
game,
but-
not that the first Rage was very big on character development at all.
Mhm.
That was like, oh, that was a zero-sum game there. There was no character development.
Pretty
But at
much.
least,
Like, I mean, you didn't even know the main character's name unless you read the companion novel that
Right.
went along with it. So, like, what character development, really?
at least this game, Rage 2, had a better like driving motivation, like a reason for going out and doing things. It's like in the first
Sure.
one, you're just like, you wake up and people tell you to go kill things.
Yeah.
Until you've come across a resistance and then stuff and happens. And like, this is like off the jump, go. Stuff
Yeah.
is happening. Go avenge people. Go do things. There's a lot of motivation, and there's a lot of like, you know, watching Crosskill Prowley, your Walker's aunt in the beginning. That's a lot of motivation to get up and get out and go do the thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I was on board with that. I was totally on board with that.
Sure.
What I wasn't really on board with was how they went about telling that story.
Okay.
There's so much that they could have done with this story that essentially just kind of boiled down to them mirroring the first game in terms of you go, you talk to someone, they ask you to go do odd jobs for them, and then eventually you get to do a cool mission, and then you go and do something else after that. You're basically spending the game impressing people enough to get them to go, okay, well, yeah, you're cool. Now let's go do something else and like maybe move this story along.
Right.
You mentioned while we were texting each other that you had thoughts on the project and the skill progression, the jobs.
Yeah.
So to give context for that before you give your thoughts, so the way that the game works is that the three characters of oh my god, what's his name? Shit, I want to say Walker. Oh my god, the former Marshall. Thank you. I kept trying to say Walker. Marshall. So there's Marshall, and then there's Lusum, and then there's Dr. Kvasir. Each of them all have a piece of the Project Dagger that we need to go out and collect, but we have to go talk to them first. And then they have a bunch of stuff that they need you to go and do around the wasteland. They have like a main mission to go and do, and then you have to go and do stuff around the wasteland to level up your, I guess, reputation with them.
Yeah, reputation would be a good word for it.
And then once you leveled up that reputation to like level 5 or greater, then that unlocks their secondary main mission. And then once you've completed the 2 main missions for each of those 3 characters, that unlocks the final endgame mission of Project Dagger, which is then it's the end of the game.
Yep.
So tell me your thoughts. I'm so curious how you felt about the way that progresses.
So, I was both intrigued and also extremely disappointed by the way that they went about it because, you know, after I unlocked the first set of projects through Lusum and was able to start doing reputation with her, I started finding like all these different things across the map that I could do, like stuff that was different color coded for the 3 different reputations, if you will.
Right, which took me a second to understand that that's what those colors meant.
Yeah, and I just started doing stuff, and pretty soon I was up to like level 6 with all 3 of them relatively quickly, but the only person that I could actually complete projects with was Lusum, because that was the only person I had talked to at that time. Right. So it was both neat that I could actually like do progression with those people without ever having to meet them, but I couldn't actually complete any of their projects before talking to them.
Right.
Like, it made sense, but it was also like, well, why allow me to do these things why show me their reputation if I can't do anything with that, you know?
Yeah, I was really confused by that too, because I didn't understand that I was completing stuff for this reputation for these jobs and projects, I was kind of similar to you. Like, I kept doing things. Like, at one point, I did something that was related to Lusum's reputation projects, and she contacted me and said, "That's great. I'm glad you did that." And I'm like, "Lady, I haven't even gone and talked to you yet."
Yeah, like, who are you?
I hadn't been to Wellspring at all, and she just is like, "Yeah, this is a great thing that you just did." And I'm like, "Why are you talking to me? How have we met? We haven't met."
New phone. Who dis?
Yeah. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Because, like, normally in, like, most open world games, you have to go and talk to the person before missions for them unlock, and then you can get that reputation and those skill points for that character or that faction.
Exactly.
Like, you know, you go and you find the arcs, and finding arcs and unlocking them incredibly boosts your reputation with Kvasir.
Yeah.
Like, I was, when I was doing my second playthrough, I found 3 or 4 arcs and I was level 5 immediately.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I hadn't even met the guy.
I think I was like level 8 by the time I actually went and found Kvasir.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. And then, like, you know, as you go through and you you do their projects, then you can unlock certain skill trees with each one. So, like, fucking Marshall's projects unlock skill trees for you to carry more ammo, do more damage. Kvasir's projects let you have the skill tree for, you know, when you do your nanotrite focus, which we'll get to in a second, but you do your focus and then you can see all the items around you so that it's easier to find them.
Yep.
But Lusum, and this is where I started to see cracks in the game.
Sure.
It took me a second because I was using the wing sticks like I would normally do in the first game. But what I didn't understand was that the wing sticks don't home in on enemies until you unlock the ability to lock onto enemies and home in on them.
Oh.
That made me mad because
I didn't realize that was like a thing in the first game.
The first game, they explain to you immediately. They're like, it's basically like a bladed boomerang with a smart targeting system.
Oh.
Like, it doesn't home in. Like, you have to point your reticle at an enemy, but if you point the reticle at the enemy and you throw the wing stick, it's gonna go towards them. Even if you like you can turn the camera and follow them, and it'll kind of like follow them and home in on them.
Yeah.
So having to unlock that as an ability in this game was maddening, because I'm like, wait a minute, I could do this in the first game without having to do anything. Like, in the first game, you even like you went from wing sticks, which just homed in, to like finding a schematic that let you build advanced wing sticks, which would then bounce off of 3 enemies at once.
Which is really cool.
Right. So having to then spend skill points in order just to lock on, but not only lock on, but then to be able to lock on even quicker with wing sticks.
That's a little frustrating.
Oh, that was so frustrating. And like, so the focus bit. So with your ranger suit and the nanotrites that you are constantly injecting into your body, nanotrites in the first game, the characters who were put into the arcs, who then went underground to survive the asteroid strike, the nanotrites just provided like regeneration and the ability to start the defibrillator inside their body in case the nanotrites couldn't heal them quick enough. It was a way of them being able to survive whatever the world looked like once they emerged and got out. There was nothing about superpowers involving nanotrites in that first game.
No.
So running around towards different arcs and then, you know, reaching your arm in and getting injected with nanotrites as a way of going, oh, you want a new superpower? Go to this arc, get nanotrites injected into your bloodstream, and now you can have a super cool superpower. You can do a force push. You can do a ground pound. You can drop a cool shield. Like, how many of the abilities did you get before the end game?
Let's see. I got the push. Which I think you have to get for story purposes. I could be wrong about that.
Mm-hmm.
I got the ground pound, and I think that's it.
Yeah, same.
I'm pretty sure that's it, because it was just like, I want weapons. I don't want superpowers. I want weapons.
Right. That was me too. I got the push. I got shatter. and then slam, which is the ground pound, and that was it.
Yeah.
I genuinely couldn't be fucked to go run around and find the arcs in this game. And the arcs are the only way you can get the weapons.
Yeah.
If you want more weapons, you have to go and find the arcs, which, God, this game finds arbitrary ways of forcing you to go and do objectives in order to progress the game and make yourself more powerful. You can't You can't buy anything. You can't buy you can buy ammunition,
yeah.
but you can't buy the weapons. You can't find the weapons. You can't organically get any of these. You have to go out of your way to track down the arcs. Because the arcs are because arcs contain weapons and they contain superpowers.
Yep.
And so the only way to get these weapons are to find the arcs. But even still, like, if you're just starting out, you have no idea what's gonna be where. So you might, like, you do have to get, you do run in, the one that you do for story purposes is the one in Gun Barrel, where you do the sewer mission for Marshall and you get the shotgun.
Yes.
So no matter what you do, you're going to have the pistol, assault rifle, and the shotgun.
And thank God for that.
Oh my God, that shotgun is so good. The shotgun in this game is so fucking good. It
is amazing.
I've
never had a better shot. Well, I've had a better shotgun in other id games, but to have that shotgun in this game, such a blessing.
It's so good that it made me feel bad about how low a score I eventually gave this game, because then I was like, well, but the shotgun's really good.
Yeah, it makes you want to, like, give a couple points on just for the shotgun.
So, okay, so cool. Let's talk about weapons and weapon handling for a second.
Sure.
Because, like, a couple of the weapons have, like, alternate fires. Mm-hmm. So, like, the pistol is a burst fire when you just hip fire it, but then if you go down the sights, it's single shot.
Yep.
Assault rifle is full auto no matter what. You can just aim down the sights and aim better.
Exactly.
Shotgun is standard issue buckshot, but then if you go down the sights, it morphs. And what the way he put it is that it melts all of the buckshot down into a single hard slug, so it knocks people backwards.
Yep.
That was so cool.
It was cool, but I expected that solid slug to do more damage at the same time.
Same.
Like,
I didn't use it as often as I think the game wanted me to, because I knew it wouldn't do as much damage as the standard buckshot.
Same. Like, you hear it, you hear him say, like, oh, it melts it down into, like, a solid slug, and you immediately go, oh, so I'm, like, shooting a molten slug at the enemy, and it's gonna really fuck him up.
Oh my God, yes.
That's what you assume, and then you, like, put that into theory for the first time, and it just knocks them back, and you're like, wait a second, and then you do it again, and it just knocks them back, and you're like, what the fuck? I was able to do this with one buckshot round. What's going on?
Right. I had the same fucking reaction. Like, thinking of it as more of like a tool helped eventually, because then I could like blow them backwards and then quickly run up and then buckshot them point blank and then they were dead. Or I did have one or two times where I was like near a ledge and I just hit them with the secondary shot and just flew them off the edge, and then they went tumbling down into the abyss.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Has so much utility that you could use with that. Absolutely.
Okay, so since you really only get the pistol, the assault rifle, and the shotgun for sure, and you have to find all the other weapons, like what other weapons did you find in your playthrough? I'm very curious.
In my playthrough, I also found the rocket launcher.
Same.
I found...
Oh, that's an arc. Yeah, that is an arc, but I don't remember if that's a story arc or not.
No.
That one, that arc is off the beaten path. So, like, yeah. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I also got the Diablo Revolver, which is a fun weapon.
Oh, man.
I had fun just screwing around using the secondary fire when nothing was, like, fired. Because it's just a quick little snap of the fingers. So it's just like, okay.
Yep.
We're having fun now.
Yes.
And then I also found the charged pulse cannon.
Okay. So I found everything you found except the pulse cannon. I didn't find the pulse cannon until after I was roaming around post-endgame.
Okay.
Which is a damn shame, because there's still like 3 or 4 other weapons that you can go out and find.
Yeah, there's I forget the name of it, but there's essentially like a bolt gun, I
A
think.
grav dart gun.
Grav dart gun, thank
Yeah.
you. And somewhere there's also a BFG.
Yep. There's a fucking BFG out there somewhere, just
And I
sitting
think I
around.
also I think I also saw in the key binding that there's a settler's pistol, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
The Settler's Pistol is the one that comes with the DLC where you go on a mission and you actually find Nicholas Rain from the first game.
Oh,
And at the end of that DLC mission, you get the Settler's Armor, which is basically his armor from the first Rage, and you get the Settler's Pistol, which is the pistol that you used in the first Rage.
okay. So that kind of like revolver thing.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I didn't find any of that, and I was fine. But at the same time, like finding the charged pulse cannon after the fact and getting to play around with it, I was like, well, gee, this is really cool. I kind of wish I'd had this during the end game because the end game was fucking stupid.
It made the end game so much easier.
Oh
I'm
my-
gonna spoiler alert. It made the end game so much easier.
Oh my god. Oh god. I wish I'd had it. I wish I'd had it. But I also wish that it had been a more accessible, there had been a more accessible way of getting weapons. Like
Yeah.
the superpower thing, okay, fine. Like, I wish the superpowers had been done differently. This is what I would have done if I had done it differently. You have access to the superpowers, but they're all weak as shit because you're untested and untrained. Instead of getting weapons and getting nanotrite injections, which doesn't make any sense because none of the arcs in the first game had nanotrite injectors. Everyone was injected with nanotrites before they were put under. So that part right there makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But I would have made it so that you'd gone to the arcs, you could upgrade your powers, or you could find a way to upgrade them throughout the world and upgrade things, as opposed to you've got to go here in order to find a weapon or a superpower. It's gonna be a toss-up whichever one you're gonna find.
Yeah.
I felt thoroughly robbed of the experience of this game because there was no organic way of getting all the weapons.
No, there really wasn't.
Like in most open world games, you go and you find, like, you get weapons, but you have to go out of your way to get the really cool shit. Like the BFG, I can see that, put that out there, make me work to go find the BFG. I could see that absolutely. But
Yeah, for real. Like, I still don't know. Like, I have to Google that shit now, but I still have no idea where the hell the BFG even is.
yeah, me neither. Me neither. But like every other weapon in the game, you should have a way of getting it. Like even in the first Rage, like there were options. Like I picked up the Authority machine gun in a mission, but before that mission, if I had been willing to spend money, I could have actually bought it at a store. So, like, they gave you options. You could find it organically, or you could buy it at the store. Like,
Okay,
take your
that's
pick
cool.
here, bud. And
That's
that's
totally
cool.
fine.
I would have loved for the same thing in this game. Like, give me access to the weapons. Don't force me into arbitrary missions to go explore. Force me to play your game the way you want me to. And while you're promising this to be an open world experience that I can play the way I want to.
Yeah.
Because long story short, the design of this game is they are forcing players to play the game in order to have anything.
Yeah,
Like, and
I
not
also
even-
had a big problem with that. It's a problem that a lot of not a lot of games, but a select handful of popular IPs are doing these days, where the developers purposely slow down the rate of consumption of the content that they give you, because they don't want you to go through their game too quickly. They want you to go through the game the way that they want you to go through it, not the
Right.
way that you want to go through it.
Right. And like, you know, I should probably rephrase my statement so that no one in the comments is like, they're forcing you to play the game in order to play the game. That's how you're supposed to play the game. Like,
No.
they're forcing me to jump through hoops in order to experience the game.
Yeah.
Like, this overworld is not an overworld. It's not a sandbox. It's
No.
basically one large hub. and you go through the hub to different missions, and you complete those missions, and then you're back in the hub going, okay, now where do I go again? Everything on the map relates directly towards gaining experience and favor and jobs and projects. There's no signs of life. There's nothing that you can just stop and do. There's nothing of that on the map. Like,
No,
everything
there
is
isn't.
color-coded and is some kind of job, some kind of mission, some kind of thing for you to do. And it just feels like all of this massive filler disguised as gameplay.
Absolutely.
And once I realized that, I kind of stopped playing the game and just like tried to focus on what would get me through the game.
Right. Exactly. I had the same thing. Like, I got so tired of playing the game that I stopped doing what I thought would be fun and just did what I could to get to the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because by the time I got to the end, I was so tired. I was so tired. Plus, like, meeting all of these characters who are all so fucking, like, depraved. Like, did you get that? Did you get that sensation? Like, especially,
Kind of.
like, especially once I got to fucking Mutant Bash TV and my interactions with Desdemona.
Oh my god, I was hoping that you were going to bring her up because, oh my god, you'll see in my Let's Play, like, my, in the moment reaction to her, but
Oh god, I can't wait to see that. But like, when I got to her and saw everything that was going on in Mutant Bash TV and I saw her, I had regrets about saving the world in the first game.
Sure, yeah.
I immediately regretted it. I'm like, this is what this brought about. And all these people, like the fucking Creole dude at the racetrack.
God, I hated him.
The way everyone talked, like in Lagoony. I don't know how many people I saw wearing tighty whities and chaps in this game.
Right? It was like, what? Where did all the people's clothes go? Like, they had so many clothes in the first game. What happened to all that?
They did. And they were all just like, everybody was just out there like, sure, they were fucking each over electricity or whatever, but they were all out there trying to survive. And here in this wasteland, like somehow 30 years after coming back out of cryo sleep and bringing the world back and like trying to heal everything, everyone's more fucked up than they were before.
Yeah.
Like fucking Clegg Clayton, man.
Clegg Clayton.
Clegg fucking Clayton. By the way,
guy.
The son of the mayor from the first game.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, I was watching your video and it didn't click until you just said that.
Well, because I don't remember if they call him Mayor Clayton in the first game. I think they do. I'm trying to remember if you like hover over him and says Mayor Clayton. But it took me a second and I was like, oh shit, no, you're the mayor's kid.
Yeah, he is.
There's a lot of legacy characters in this game. The Desdemona's slaves, for example, her sex slaves, and they're wearing those giant bobbleheads.
Yeah.
Okay, those bobbleheads are meant to look like J.K. Styles, the guy who ran Mutant Bash TV in the first game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Marshall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Marshall, our bartender Marshall. He was the guy in the first game who was leading the resistance.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, except he was voiced by Stephen J. Bloom, renowned voice actor in the first game. And yet somehow in this game, he instead of sounding like Spike Spiegel, he sounds like he's got a bad Kentucky accent.
Yeah, he sounds like he is bad Kentucky accent is the best
Something southern and Kentucky is what I landed on.
I was gonna say what's his name with the mustache from The Big Lebowski, but that's doing a disservice to that actor.
Yeah, but the one that pissed me off the most was Kvasir.
Yeah,
Kvasir in this game was so gross.
Oh my god, yeah, like again, my in-game reaction to that is much better than I can do right now. But
yeah, him showing up on that fucking unfortunate mutant that was being controlled by cybernetics, and then when he turned around and like that diaper was hanging there, fucking swinging back and forth like there's a big fucking load in there. I was disgusted.
I was so grossed out by that.
I was disgusted on multiple levels, partly because Kvasir was the most interesting character in the first game.
Sure.
He was like the only character who had personality. Plus, like, this is such a huge like flip for the character from a presentation characterization standpoint. In the first game, he's all about technology, and he hints at the fact that he helped the Authority with some unethical experimentation on the mutants in Dead City.
Sure.
And so, like, you know, you get this sense of, like, he regrets that. He wishes he hadn't been a part of that. Like, there's this, like, he never comes out and says it, but there's this, like, kind of forlorn aspect to his voice when he's talking about that. So then, him being this, like, 100% robotic technology-fueled guy in the first game, talking about, like, yeah, did stuff, been there, ooh, it wasn't good, and it's kind of unethical. And then, like,
Maybe
okay,
I
now we're
shouldn't
30,
have done that kind of
30
thing.
yeah, exactly. Shouldn't have done that. Now, 30 years later, here he is riding around on a giant disfigured mutant and, like, completely, like, totally flipped and just went, like, unethical? I've never heard of her. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was so mad at what they did to that character.
Did he have the use of his legs in the first game?
No, he was carried around on an apparatus.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He had this cool little crane thing that kept his body, like, his legs were strapped down, so he was, like, propped upright.
Yeah, so he could actually be standing,
yeah, and it moved him around his laboratory.
Okay.
So he didn't have the use of his legs. And also, he was certainly not nearly as sketchy as he is in this game.
Oh, I believe it.
Like, fucking sending Walker out to kill Cross and basically going like, well, Walker's gonna die because of the way that I've got this set up, so oopsie oh well. Spoilers, kids, sorry. You don't want to play this game anyway.
Yeah, it's a mess.
This game is a mess.
You can live vicariously through us. It's fine.
This game is hands down the glitchiest, buggiest game that I have played on this channel to date. This game has crashed more times than anything I have played on this channel or in recent memory. It hurt.
Sure.
Like, I was trying to do a second playthrough on an easier difficulty just to kind of, like, really feel out the game and the play and, like, go find the arcs and, like, what did I miss? Like, what could I have gone out and found? And I went and I found an arc. And I found a nanotrite injection, and I walked up to it. Now, I turned off, you can go into the menu and turn off the tutorials, which, fuck all of those tutorials.
Seriously, like, yeah, by the time I got to, I don't know how many tutorials I got to, but I was done with them, like, after 3.
Every single weapon and every single superpower you get, it's like a 5 fucking minute tutorial that makes you do the same goddamn things twice in a row, just so that they can be like, okay, now you know it.
Yeah, like, it should be like once for the weapons, like, hey, did you know that your weapon has a primary fire, a secondary fire, and an overdrive feature?
Oh, I fucking hated all of that. They throw so much at you with overdrive.
Yeah.
But, like, the Doom Eternal was like, here's a quick 30-second video of what this does. Now get back out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
that's because that's how that game is. It's like, it's super fast-paced.
You want to go.
Crunchy, it's killy, it's go.
They know.
This game is not.
They're like, no, we don't want you to stop and slow down. We want you to be playing this game as fast and as furious as possible.
Stopping means not having fun.
Yeah, stopping is dying.
Yeah.
But what kicked me out was I found this arc, and I walked up to the nanotrite injector, and so you can go into the menu and turn off the arc tutorials. So all you have to do is you walk up, and for some reason, like, if you turn off the tutorials, you walk up, you get the nanotrite injection, and then it still says tutorial completed.
Right.
Which is weird.
That is weird.
So I've got the tutorials off. I go get the nanotrite injection, and you know how it does that weird like VHS screen glitch, the digital screen glitch every time. The digital screen glitch happened, and then it stayed on my screen. My HUD disappeared.
Oh no.
And I turn around and I'm getting attacked and I'm like, my HUD's gone. The screen glitch is covering the screen. I can't do it. Not only did the game glitch and not give me the fucking nanotrite ability that I was supposed to have picked up from that, but I went back to the main menu, came back, my HUD was still gone. I went back to, I came back, my HUD was still gone. I noped out of the game. I reloaded the game. And when I reloaded the game, it still counted that I had picked up the injection, but I didn't have the ability.
Oh no.
That was the point at which I went, I'm done with this second playthrough. I'm done playing this game. I'm uninstalling this now. And like, that's just one of a multitude of bugs and glitches. This game is unstable.
Apparently, like, I feel really fortunate because the only thing that went wrong with my playthrough is the first time you are required to do a race in the game. The game crashed during lap 2.
Oh no.
But then the game never crashed again. I never had any bugs. I never had any glitches. I was solid through the rest of the game.
I'm happy that worked out well for you.
So am I, because like I have read reviews and I'm very aware of all the bugs and glitches that can happen in this, and I was waiting for more of that, but it never came. So
I got them all. I took it on for both of us.
Apparently, yeah.
Did you get the Icarus, by the way?
I did, yes.
Okay, so here's another good one for you. So I was, so the Icarus is basically a fucking like a gyrocopter.
Yep.
And once you lift up into the air with it, it keeps you above ground. You're hovering in place until you press the control button for crouch and go down and you land, right?
Right.
So I actually had 2 glitches with the Icarus. So the first glitch I had, I didn't know how to land. So I was just like, cool, I'm just gonna like hover above these authority guards at this checkpoint and I'm gonna jump off my bike and land and take them out, because I had just done that not too long ago. I had jumped off the bike from a little ways upward and I was fine. I landed, I was fine. I did that here and I landed and I died immediately.
Holy shit.
So the game goes to loading screen. It reloads with me in mid-fall because I had just hit a checkpoint right there and I hit the ground and I died.
No!
I've got some great footage of just like, I think I left it for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Just watching myself die over and over again. And I'm like, oh my God.
No.
Like by right, I should have just been able to just jump off the bike, fall like 10, 20 feet, whatever, take the fall damage and then be good. Nope, I died. And then it just kept reloading me dying.
Oh my God.
And the second glitch that I had with the Icarus was so you know the big crack, the canyon, the deep, endless abyss of a canyon that separates most of the world?
Yes. Yes.
I was on the Icarus, and I decided to fly over towards Wellspring. I'm like, I'm not going to follow the roads. It's going to keep me in the air. I'm going to fly over the crack.
Right, makes sense, yeah.
And, like, the Icarus, normally when you're flying, when you approach ground that's on an incline, it will just lift you up over it, right?
Okay. Sure.
So I'm like, well, okay, obviously this is a gyrocopter. It's going to keep me in the air. It's not going to let me fall into the crack.
Right.
So I'm flying out towards Wellspring. I'm over the canyon.
This is foreboding.
I'm slowly sinking.
No.
But I can see Wellspring is right there, like the outer edge of Wellspring. And I'm like, it's right there. I'm like 5 feet away. I'm suddenly it's going to automatically lift me up so that I can go over Wellspring. Nope, I just kept dipping and dipping and dipping and dipping, and then the game faded out because I died.
Oh my God,
it lowered me into the canyon on the gyrocopter, which is supposed to keep you in the air until you tell it to go all the way down.
It kept fucking Clayton in the air. It can keep your ass in the air. What the shit? Come on.
Oh my God. There's so much to this game. Like, I feel like we're on like a spiral of like there's no explaining this game. There's no talking about it. It's so hard to encapsulate this game because there's simultaneously so much of it.
Yep.
And there's also nothing. This is one of the most empty, vacuous shells of a game that I have ever played.
It's a game, but at what cost?
At what cost? And, like, it's hard because you want to blame Avalanche, right? Because they did the overall development of the game.
Sure.
So
But-
your first thought is like that's Avalanche, right? But
Sure.
they did a great job with the Just Cause series.
I was gonna say,
never
yeah.
finished Mad Max. You did.
I did. That was a fantastic game, which is why I was actually looking forward to playing this, because
Right.
Mad Max is a post-apocalyptic wasteland game done really fucking well.
Right.
And then Rage 2 is a post-apocalyptic wasteland game done really fucking bad. And you have
Really?
to be like, well, this is the same studio, this is the same developers, what the fuck happened? And then Tom Willits.
Tom Willits is what happened.
Yeah, if anything goes wrong in a game, it's not because the developers, the people that actually put in the hard work in making the game, it's not due to them doing something wrong. It's due to the overall game director telling them to either do or don't do something.
And so like id Software pitched the game to Avalanche. They hired Avalanche after being impressed by their work on the Just Cause series.
Sure.
And for the course of development for the course of development for the game, Avalanche handled the overall development. Basically, they built the game. They built the game, they made sure it worked. id Software provided story, art, and combat mechanics for the game.
Sure.
So a lot of the issues that I'm having actually came from the id Software side of things, which also understanding that this is Tom Willits' baby. This is his game franchise.
Yeah.
Knowing that, like, you would think that Avalanche, you would immediately start to blame Avalanche here. But oh my God, like, they just got hired to build this game.
Yeah.
This is work for hire shit. This is like all those poor writers who James Patterson says, hey, I want you to write this book for me but put my name on it.
Yeah.
It's like everyone goes, oh, this was a pile of shit. Who wrote this shit? And they're like,
Well, it wasn't me.
It was fucking James Patterson told me to do it, guys. Or like anytime
Give me
you
an
see
outline. I just wrote the thing.
you see a latter-day Tom Clancy novel, but it says Tom Clancy with whatever writer there. And it's like, yeah, Tom Clancy.
Rainbow Six Extraction.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. I can't do that right now, man. I don't have enough whiskey on me.
No.
Oh,
There
my
isn't enough
God.
in the world.
I don't fucking like Avalanche got hired to do a job, and I feel like they did their job as well as they could. The combat in this game is really good.
Yes.
I
it
really
is
really
good.
enjoyed the combat in this game, but it becomes repetitive way too quickly.
It becomes repetitive, and it also slowly over the course of the game, somehow the more powerful you get, the less powerful you get.
Yeah, seriously. Hey, did you have any issues with the unintuitive menus?
Are you talking like all the tabs in like the
Like upgrading
For
your weapons,
vehicles,
spending
weapons.
Feltrite to upgrade your weapons?
It took me a hot minute to figure that out, but once I did figure it out, I had no issues with it. But it was really like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, what do I need to do to upgrade a weapon?
I didn't upgrade any of my weapons past level 2 because I couldn't figure it out.
Oh,
I could not figure out what I was able to click on with my mouse and what I had to actually manipulate and interact with my keyboard.
oh, okay.
It wasn't until after I beat the end game that I realized that if I wanted to select the option of upgrading a weapon, I had to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move down to the upgrade this weapon to the next level option.
Then press and hold F.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
kept trying to click on it and it wouldn't let me. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess at some point something arbitrary is going to happen and then I'll have the ability to upgrade this weapon again.
Yeah.
And I
like,
couldn't
for
figure
all
out
the
what
effort,
it was.
For all the effort that they spent on giving you tutorials on the weapon functionality and the nanotrite ability functionality, you think that they would have given you a tutorial on how to use their fucking menus?
Yeah, seriously, something, anything. Like, I don't understand why you would have a menu system, and not just the weapon upgrades, but a menu system in which you are required to press specific buttons on the keyboard rather than just click through with your mouse. Especially
no
when
sense.
you're clicking things with your mouse anyway, but then it's like, now you have to press enter, but not the enter on the number pad. You have to press enter on like the actual enter button, or like you need to use the arrow keys to move up and down in the menu in order to pick the thing that you want, even though there are some things in the menu that you can click on with the mouse.
Yeah.
Like you can click on most things in the menu with your mouse, so then when you can't click on something, it isn't intuitive to have to use the arrow keys to then select that as opposed to using the mouse. It made no sense to me, so I felt like an idiot until it finally came around. I was like, you never told me to use the arrow keys to go up and down and select this thing. What the hell, guy?
Yeah, it's unintuitive and it makes 0 sense.
Makes 0 sense. 0 sense. There's
A lot of things didn't make sense with having to like press and hold buttons. Like, God, I really fucking hated the ladder interactions.
Oh, really?
Like, why do I have to press and hold a button to grab onto a ladder?
Oh, yeah. Having to press and hold a button for everything.
Like, I'm so used to running around FPS games and being like, there's a ladder there, and like jumping up to a ladder to get a head start on climbing it. And then just like having like half of a ladder to climb up. Whereas in this game, I have to actually like go up to a ladder, press and hold E, and then start climbing. Like that.
And then it takes you through the entire climbing animation.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank God they didn't do that with climbing down a ladder.
Oh my god. Yeah, thank you. Just drop me down. Just drop me down and that's it.
Yep.
Oh. Can we talk about the ending?
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about that ending.
The ending of this game was worse than the first game.
Made me so fucking mad.
I was so mad.
It's just like, oh god, you get hit in the face with like the nanotrite poison breath, which was fucking stupid as shit.
Yup. I will take you with me because my breath is suddenly filled with nanotrites. I do not know why General Cross is suddenly Russian, but it makes sense in brain.
Yeah, and then like you're dying and it's all like fading to black, and then Lily comes out of nowhere, who didn't show up for the entire fucking game after.
Seriously, she was all the way literally on the entire other side of the map the whole time.
She was in Vineland this entire time.
Yes.
Like, you didn't see her since leaving Vineland, and then all of a sudden she's here to save your ass. Like, where did she come from?
Where?
And then she, like, drags you off, and then it fades to black, and the credits start scrolling, and I'm sitting there being like, that's the end of the game?
I was so mad. I was so mad. I turned around, and I looked at my poor partner who's listening to me rage about this, and I'm just like, they did it again. They did it again. We just had this anti-climate. Like, granted, the mission leading up to it was better than in the first game, even though the mission was hard as balls and like so dumb.
It really was.
The final boss fight with Cross was stupid because you didn't even fight Cross.
No, you didn't. You fought a giant mutant titan.
Yeah, you're riding the fucking... He's riding the fucking titan. Fucking, you fight that. Like, at least thank God we got one mission where we had to fight Cross earlier.
Yeah.
Like, we got that one mission where we had to fight him, and then we figured out the whole cloning process, and we needed the DNA sample, and I'm like, oh shit, this is a really cool preview of what fighting Cross in the end game is gonna be like.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be this easy. And like, he wasn't that easy either in that mission.
No, he really
was
wasn't.
actually
Well,
pretty intimidating. Fighting him in that mission was pretty intimidating. So after that, I thought he's gonna be twice as fucked up when we get to him.
he's not gonna want to lose at that point.
No, not in the slightest. And then you fight him while he's controlling a giant mutant that they've been building this entire game. And it's just a matter of like avoiding fucking giant fists pounding down, and then you have to shoot things on there, and then the mutants come at you as like fodder to keep you distracted for a minute. And
yeah, and the mutants were harder than the actual boss.
they were so much harder. So much harder. I went into the end game mission low on health, low on resources. I scraped by, and I got to that final fight with Cross. I used my defibrillator charge. I was down to like 13 health. and I got the last shot on him.
Wow.
I somehow scraped by.
Wow.
And then we get the whole thing where it's like, I'm injecting you with these nanotrites that are going to absolutely kill you, and you won't be able to clone yourself ever again. And then he coughs in our face and goes, well, if I'm dying, you're dying, because that's apparently how this shit works.
Yeah.
And as you said, here comes Lily out of nowhere, even though she's been literally halfway across the world, grabs us, drags us off, and the game fades to black, and it's the credits.
Yeah.
And
then the more insulting part about that is as the credits are rolling, you're getting like a comic book style like recap of the entire game. And then like towards the end of the credits, then you get to see that, oh, your character and Lily actually did get out in fucking comic book form.
Yeah.
What?
And then like, so I totally was like, no, this can't be fucking how it is. So like, the credits are rolling and I'm furiously Googling. I'm like, is there more than one ending? Did I fuck something up? And it's like, no, there's an after credits scene. I'm like, all right. I'm waiting for this after credits scene. And then the after credits scene plays, and it's just, and then it's like, okay, there's Lily holding the gun to Kvasir. It's like, oh, you knew that my friend here was going to get fucked up. And he's like, yeah, but I fixed her. But that means that someone could also fix Cross, so you might want to keep me around. And then they're like, oh yeah, Walker, you're going to be fine, and you're going to wake up, and there's going to be more work for the Wasteland Ranger. And then fade to black, and then you wake up in Lusum's, like, mayor's office. And I'm just like, you fuckers.
Yeah.
Like
what a fucking dumb ending.
That ending could have been salvaged really easily, right? You don't even have to change anything or write anything different. The ending could have been salvaged really easily. All you have to do is it fades to black while Lily is carrying Walker out, and then you fade in with the scene with Kvasir and Lily's holding the gun to his head.
Yep.
And then you jump to the scene where Walker and Lusum are like, when you wake up, there's going to be more work for the Wasteland Ranger, but we got Cross for now. And then it fades out, and then
credits.
you do the end credits.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
I would not be as angry as I am at this game if they had done it that way.
Absolutely.
It just kind of like encapsulated how little there is to this game, how hollow and vapid the whole experience is. Like, I wrote a thing down that I feel like there are so many items and powers and weapons to upgrade that require Feltrite, which in turn leads to you needing more Feltrite, which in turn you need now to go and search more and then do more. That forces a feedback loop of gameplay. This game forces you to play it. Games should not force you to play, they should incite you to play.
Yes.
The whole Feltrite thing also felt so weirdly distanced from the lore and canon of the first game. Because Feltrite was not that big a deal. It was a big deal, but it was mostly used for, like, armor-piercing rounds. And in this game, you fucking, like, you use it for everything.
Yeah.
Like, you power your abilities. You upgrade your weapons. You do all kinds of shit with it,
right? So you regenerate your health, etc., etc.
But if I've got nanotrites, which in the first game regenerated my health, why do I need fucking Feltrite to regenerate my health?
Can we talk about the Shrouded Immortal for a second?
Oh yeah, let's do.
Fuck those guys.
Oh, I hate them. I hate them so much.
Yeah, they are hands down the worst enemies in the game. They're in the game specifically as bullet sponges.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The armor on them is ridiculous. I hated every single encounter with them. There was nothing about them that I liked. There was nothing about them that I appreciated. And they're one of the bandit clans that appears in the first game. But they're not that bad. They're not that bad. Here they're like, now we're some weird culty armored up cult that has access to Tesla weapons or some shit.
Yeah.
They were bad. Like, I mean, like, they didn't really, like, do anything that were necessary. They weren't, like, they weren't, like, bad in the sense that they were poorly designed.
No.
But, like, when you take in, like, there's basically 3 types of things that you fight in this game. You fight regular-ass bandits, you fight Immortal Shrouded, and you fight the Authority. The Authority has, like, their energy shields, which are fucked, by the way.
Yeah. And they take so many hits.
So many hits. I did like that I knew that I was was hitting armor because the reticle changed from red to yellow, and that let me know when I finally chipped it and whittled it away.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Immortal Shrouded were just awful. I hated every encounter with them.
It really neutered the whole shotgun aspect for me.
Oh, it
because
did.
it was like, the shotgun is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come up across the Shrouded Immortal, and it just, like, the shotgun is no longer useful.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, nope, you are not powerful, you suck, and these guys are about to kill you.
Yep.
How did they have cloaking technology, too? They were like ninjas,
Right.
and they had cloaking technology?
Right? Yeah, like, they had samurai swords and all kinds of stuff. And
Like,
it was just
what
like,
the fuck?
where did you get all this?
Why? How? Yeah, how? What? Why?
How, when, and why?
I don't understand. I don't understand the setup of any of the bandit clans in this game. Like in the first game, it was like, here's all the British guys, and then here's the steampunk Russians, and then the Immortal Shrouded are like, well, they're like fucking ninja warrior cybernetic Tesla guys.
Yeah, but they don't have any ethnicity at all, so
None.
they just exist.
Nameless,
Somehow?
faceless. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really weird how there's like so much to do that funnels into absolutely nothing, but it feels like there's so much to do. Like the sheer volume of things like made me want to avoid talking to NPCs because I didn't want to accidentally get another mission. I didn't want to accidentally pick up another thing that put up something else on the fucking world map, because then it made me feel like, oh fuck, there's that out there. I'm like, I gotta fucking go do that now too. There's like things. Like I had so much shit on the map that was left at the end game that I completely avoided.
Likewise.
I like the game made me feel actively antisocial because I didn't want to talk to anyone. Like if I talk to, are you gonna give me a mission? Because I don't want to fucking go out there again.
Yeah, that, and they're gonna probably like talk to you for 5 fucking minutes. Because the way that this game was written, it wasn't written with like dialogue that had purpose. It had dialogue that just ate your time.
It's all exposition, but it doesn't even explain anything.
Yeah, it's like eating a jelly-filled donut without the jelly.
Ooh, and you just got that hole in the middle, and then you're like, ew, what is this? And then you tongue it, and it's like there isn't even like a remnant of jelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tonguing the whole of a jellyless jelly donut. Yes.
Or even better, it's like the jelly got sucked out, so you're just like, oh, it was in here once. This isn't the same, but like it kind of if I close my eyes and imagine it's a jelly donut still.
Yes.
Oh, I feel like we've talked about so much, and yet we haven't even scraped the tip of the iceberg of this game.
In a way, yeah, not really.
There's so, like, the convoy battles are kind of cool. I enjoyed that, but they felt like it was from a completely different game.
It did. It felt like, it was from Mad Max.
A vastly superior game to this one.
Yeah.
And that was fine.
The convoy missions in that game were so much more fun because, like, you didn't have bullet sponge vehicles or like rotating auto turrets hammering you away where you had to like stop and repair your car.
Yeah. Oh jeez. Repairing the car constantly.
The car. Ugh.
You know who voiced the
car
car?
In general.
You know who voiced the car?
No, who?
Linda Carter.
No way, really?
Yeah, way.
Oh, how about
Look that up after the fact. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Huh. Well, that's a good bit of trivia. I didn't really appreciate the personality of the car, to be honest.
Hey there, Walker. I'm looking good, but I drive even better.
Yeah, or like checking into
the clinic.
Yeah. After hearing that for like the 15th time, you just kind of look at the car and you go, I'm gonna leave you on the side of the road?
We're here, sport.
Oh my god!
Every time you arrive anywhere, we're here, sport.
She says it so hollow, too. That it's just like,
you can tell us a paycheck.
We are.
You could tell it was a paycheck. This game was a paycheck.
Yep.
The execution of the development of this game is a paycheck. I hope Avalanche Studios got paid.
I really hope so,
I
too,
hope they got paid.
There's no way that you put all this effort into something like this and not get paid.
This is the way I imagine it. This is the timeline in my head, right?
Sure.
So the first Rage comes out. Tom Willits is the man behind the wheel. Does not do good. It doesn't do bad, but it's forgettable and is left by the wayside.
Sure.
So then, hold on, when was Quake Live? I think Quake Live was 2010. I think
Something
Quake
like that.
Live was 2010. So Quake Live comes out before Rage. which Tom Willits was a creative director on Quake Live, which was just a browser extension version of Quake 3.
Right.
So you can't fail there. Like, everybody can literally just boot up Internet Explorer and play Quake 3 in their browser.
Yeah.
So you can't fail. That's not a fail. Tom Willits gets a win on his belt for that.
Sure. Browser games were big back then.
Yeah, Rage comes out. He put a lot into this game. There's that interview with him where he said specifically, we're making this game, but we want this IP to be a franchise. Like, they very intentionally set out to make a franchise with this game.
We all know what happens when you do that.
Exactly. It doesn't do so well, and it didn't do so well.
You get The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
You get The Mummy with Tom Cruise. Oh no, damn it, dude. Ooh, I will now forever link Rage and the Tom Cruise Mummy in my head as being the same thing. Wow.
They are the same thing.
They are the same thing. Oh my god. But then, so development on Quake Champion started in 2013, and it was just supposed to be an expansion to Quake Live, right?
Sure.
But Tom Willits, at this point, he's starting to see the writing on the wall. He's like, well, I was in charge of this game, but I don't want to be responsible for a game that takes another hit. We're going to make another brand new Quake game multiplayer. So he brings in Saber Interactive to develop the game, because they're working on Doom at this point. Doom 2016 was in full push.
Yep.
So they don't have the resources at id to make these two games simultaneously. But they just had Machine Games make Wolfenstein, and that worked. So Tom Willits goes, okay, let's get Saber Interactive and we make a new Quake game.
Sure.
Quake Champions doesn't do gangbusters the way that they thought it would. It's still in early access to this day.
Yep.
So then, Doom gets high marks. They start development on Doom Eternal. So id's got their resources on Doom at the moment. And, Bethesda, ZeniMax, they're like, we can do a sequel to Rage. But again, they don't have the resources to work on these two games at the same time. So, Tom Willits, he sees, okay, I got Saber to do Quake Champions and that did well enough. Let's do Rage 2 with another studio.
Right.
You get this other studio to basically make the game.
Right.
Rage 2 doesn't do as well as everybody hoped. It sold less units than the first game.
Ouch.
Youch. I think he kind of knew that he couldn't have his name directly associated as the director with another failure, and kind of outsourced as much as he could to stay in a seat behind the scenes while being able to go like, well, the game didn't do so well, but like these guys were the ones that made it.
Right.
And then he was quoted as saying that he wanted to get development on Rage 3 started as soon as possible, right around the time that Rage 2 came out.
Really?
Yeah, he wanted to jump on it immediately.
Before the game is even out the door.
Before the game is out the door.
Holy
shit. This quote could have been coming on right after the release. It's in that time frame, that bubble of either just before or just after.
Right.
When he wanted to get going. He wanted to make those moves.
Wow.
So I think he saw, I didn't do so well on this, I didn't do so well on that, I didn't do so well on this. Meanwhile, Doom 2016 did gangbusters, Doom Eternal's coming down the pipe, and the hype on that is real. And I think that's why he jumped ship to Saber when he did. Like,
probably.
He got out while the getting was good. And so now this is it. This is the last game that he had his hands on at id. And again, we can look at Avalanche Studios and be like, well, they made the game, but he was the director at id, and id provided X, Y, and Z for the game. The big components that didn't work, aside from the combat was fine.
Yeah.
Except for the part where when it got boring because you kept doing the same goddamn thing over and over again.
Yes.
And so he has his hands in this pie. Rage is his universe. It's his baby. And I know he wanted to keep it going, but goddamn, there's only so much blame you can pass off onto someone else before someone turns around and looks at you and goes, buddy, you were behind the wheel. in the driver's seat for this one.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of saw that after Rage 2 didn't do so well, that he wasn't going to get another shot. So it's either like, move on or just accept the mediocrity there. That's my take anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Like he chose to move on rather than accept the fact that he had 3 at this point, not great games with his name directly attached to them.
Yeah, like it's kind of a slower slump than John Romero had, because John Romero went, well, I made Doom and Quake, so I'm gonna go make a game that's gonna destroy everyone's minds, and it was just like a meteor falling out of the sky. He got humbled real fast.
Oh yeah.
Tom Willett stayed in the chair for a long time, just kind of like making sure that he stayed. He produced enough work that was good enough to prevent him from losing that. Yeah. But over time, he couldn't make games that were that mediocre and actually maintain a position of power. Like, you can be in the industry for as long as you want, but if you keep making duds, or at least games that are like, okay, but not great, then over time, it's like, you're going to get hit with the reality stick.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. I think Rage 2 was kind of like his last shot at trying to do something, which is why this game is so big and grandiose. And like, oh my God, all the advertisements and everything that are like with the Andrew WK soundtrack, and it's like party, 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 party all the time. And it's like, blah, blah. And then you get into the game and it's like, yeah, well,
What the hell is this Kirkland signature Mick Gordon soundtrack?
Oh no! Kirkland's signature Mick Gordon. No. Oh no. When I first
That's what it was. Like when I first booted up the game and heard like the main menu music, I was like, they really like told the music guy on this game to be like, I want you to emulate Mick Gordon's music, but do it with less quality.
Yes, that I hadn't thought about that, but you're so right.
Like the only memorable bit of music out of the entire game was when you're in that damn sewer mission fighting all the mutants, and you've got that great like pulsing, throbbing bit of music that really just like amplifies the atmosphere. That's the only good bit of music in the game.
It was so good. And even replaying that mission, that music made the tension sky high. It's great. It's really good. Fun story though, when I the first time I booted up the game, and I didn't tell you this because I wanted to just let it be an organic experience for you, but I booted up the game for the first time just to do a footage test, just to make sure that Bandicam would capture it. And the main menu music started playing, and I almost had a panic attack because of how overwhelming it was. All the colors and the music and everything. I was like, no. Make it stop.
Oh, that's so sad. Oh no.
I did, my hopes for the game being good kind of like took a big dip for a second, because I was like, oh, this is a lot. It's a lot. Oh, this is a lot.
That's saying something. Like when you get to the main menu of a game and you're just you're almost like too intimidated to play it because it throws so much like sensory information at you at the same time. That's really telling.
Yeah. Oh my God. I really, I don't know. It's hard to talk in detail about this game because then like you just start thinking about 20 different things. And so then to try and sit back and explain it is like, okay, well then, but there's this thing, and then, oh my God, thinking about that makes me think about this. And like the game is so all over the place while not actually presenting very much.
Yeah,
it's
unfocused and yet not mediocre. Lean. It's very lean.
It is very lean. It's very lean. It promises you an open world, but there is no open world because there isn't anything to do other than a bunch of side missions, a bunch of odd jobs. And you know what? I think we could probably talk in circles like all night about this because there's just so much going on. But I think we're at a good point. We can just cut to the quick.
For sure.
Yeah. Let's do final thoughts and overall score for the game. So what's your take on Rage 2?
Rage 2, just a giant mess in general. They had some good ideas going there, but the execution was just way off base, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to go with a 4. Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with a 4 for this game. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that you had the shotgun in there and the Diablo revolver,
Oh my god.
then it would have been a much lower score. We would have been getting into like a 2 territory here, possibly.
Shit. Yeah,
so that's my take, is a 4.
And I'm with you on that similar score. The same score, I give it a 4. Overall, I give it a 4. I think I thoroughly agree with you. The shotgun is one of the saving graces of this game. I think the combat is excellent. I think, honestly, truly, the combat in this game being as good as it is why this game got as many good scores. And by good, I mean in the like 6 to 7 range.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people were overly forgiving of this game because the combat is really good. When it's
They really had something there.
Oh,
really
so much. And you know, like even reviewing some of the footage while I was getting ready for us to sit down and chat, I'm like watching the frenetic pace of it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I did have some good combat moments, but it's moments that are interspersed throughout just leagues of repetition and fetch quests and not much else. The story is terrible. The open world is empty and hollow, and
It really is.
And like the overzealous customization, which is unintuitive as fuck, just really dragged this down. Also, like, and I don't really want to again blame Avalanche too much for this, but you know, I'm glad that you escaped most of the bugs. But like, oh, this is in a bad state. This is in a bad state. I had a couple of times where the Epic Games launcher, because that's what I ran it through, it asked me, it's like, do you want to send an error report? And I tried. It wouldn't even send the error reports.
Oh no!
It wouldn't even do that. And
no.
The Epic Games launcher kept crashing too. So like it caused the game crashed multiple times. It made my launcher crash. I couldn't send error reports. And there's that very infamous bug how sometimes the final end game mission won't even load due to a bug that they haven't even fixed.
Which I am so glad that I didn't encounter, because I forgot to heed your warning about making a separate save.
Right.
So I went right into the end game without any problems. So I was one of the fortunate ones.
Yeah,
thankfully.
I am actually very surprised out of all the bugs that I had that somehow the final mission loaded for me first try. And I was super zealous with multiple save files. Like, I'm ready to reload something. I'm ready to reload and hopefully trigger it. And I got lucky there. Like, I was like playing real late, and I really was like, I don't want to play anymore, but the final mission just loaded and I don't want to jinx this. So I just dove in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a game. The game world is empty and hollow, and while the combat is excellent, it becomes too repetitive, and there's too many gimmicks to feel like this is a game that's worth playing. Like, not even to take it seriously, but it feels like there's too many things that are thrown in here just to throw something in here to make it feel like this is a cohesive whole. It's just a big pot with a lot of stuff, and it's not even full. I don't know.
Sadly.
Yeah. Like the combat and the shotgun made me want to give it higher than a 4, but a 4 is where I'm landing. That's the end of it for me.
Rage 2.
Rage
4 and 4.
Rage 2, 4 and 4. Well, listen, kids, thank you so much for coming out to the garage here with me and the Pancake Detective. This has been a wonderful experiment. If you enjoyed this, please let us know in the comments below. Like, comment, do the YouTube thing, as Mr. Detective says over on his channel. And make sure to go check out his channel. He just finished up his Let's Play. Go watch his misery. Give him some comfort for going through this.
Please.
Oh, man. As always, stay hydrated. Give your mom an extra hug and a kiss tonight. Tuck yourselves into bed. Detective, brother, thank you again for sitting down and doing this little round table with me.
You're welcome. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this again at some point in the future.
Me too.
All right, kids, stay safe out there. We'll see you next time.
Take care.